Hello and welcome back to Dreamwalker Tarot. My name is Dawn and this is the December reading for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Mars. Please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for post notifications. This month, I've been working with the Sibyl's Oracle deck from Tiana Lee McQuiller. And this deck is structured a little bit differently than traditional tarot or oracle decks in the way that it does its reading. It really focuses more on the internal kind of stirrings that you might be having as opposed to the physical manifestation of these things. And the way that this deck is structured is that there are 44 cards in the deck, and they're separated into 4 different sections. So the first section is considered the core issue, which is like the major thing or occurrence happening in your life at this time, which is the top left card. And then the top right card is called the projection card. And the projection card is basically the justifications or the rationalizations that we give ourselves that block us from seeing the truth about the actual core issue. The second 2 cards on the bottom are the action cards, which is the blue card is considered the cool action, which is the thought process that goes into kind of like navigating your way through the situation, which is followed by the action card, which is the actual physical steps that you would need to take. Okay, so the cards that came out for you this month in the position of the core issue is rhythm, and the projection card is the justice card. The action cards, we got 2 of the cool actions, which action cards, which I take whatever spirit gives me, is both optimism and detachment. And the hot action card is gradual progress. So looking at these cards, there really is a sense that you are struggling to kind of close out a cycle in your life. And with the justice card presenting itself here, it looks like you're carrying a little bit of a burden that really doesn't allow you to kind of step into like a natural flow. So there is like a sense of releasing certain things and kind of like balancing yourself on an emotional level, but also there is an issue here. For me, the gradual progression card actually kind of looks like the 2 of Pentacles card, which is talking about like the balance of your finances. So there's a sense that your finances need to be balanced out, as well as like your emotions regarding a particular situation. It does feel like there's like a little bit of a karmic attachment with this justice card. So it could be penance for things or things that you've done in the past, but also things that you felt might have been done to you in the past that you feel like you didn't get justice for, or you feel like things didn't work out the way that they should have worked out. And there's like a sense of you feeling as though it's unfair. So really it's with the optimism and the detachment card, it's really calling for you to release these things that you're holding on to, and really focus on the positive aspects and the positive things that you do have, as opposed to the things that you don't have. Because when you're happy with the things that you do have, spirit tends to bless you with more. So that is kind of the energy that I'm getting off of these cards, and I'm going to go ahead and look into the other cards as well. Also, it just kind of like dawned on me, the cards here were also showed up in Libra. It also showed up, I believe, in the Gemini reading, the Cancer reading, and the Taurus reading. So if you're dealing with a person that has any of those signs in their chart, or if you have any of those signs in your chart, you might want to take a little gander over and see what those readings are about as well. So the core issue this month is represented here by the rhythm card. And the tagline for this card is, "The eyes are the source of rhythm." The key symbol here is the lute. And the lute was commonly used during rituals throughout the ancient Mediterranean and symbolizes higher states of consciousness. The hare represents death and resurrection, and the ibis represents knowledge and wisdom. All of these represent the rhythm of life. Rhythm is often associated with music, but the concept may be just as aptly applied to one's spiritual state. Great emphasis is placed on completing something one has started, but few realize the key to reaching one's goal without stress and strain. The harder we try to force an issue, the more resistance appears to inevitably frustrate and exhaust us. Sure, the goal may eventually be reached, but the toll it takes on the mind, body, and or spirit to get there may take a long time, if ever, to fully recover from it. This effort is not only unnecessary, it is foolish, especially if we consider natural rhythm to be the ability to sustain the right momentum despite sudden changes and pauses in the environment. The natural world provides wonderful examples of how different forms of life continue to thrive because of their ability to find a way to reach their destination despite the appearance of an altered course. This does not mean that the altered course always has to be challenging. In fact, there are just as many times that we allow our rhythm to be broken in the pursuit of something we know is right for us for a happy reason. It is especially important at these times to reflect on the wisdom of changing the beat in mid-step by questioning our motive for doing so. There are times in life when we learn new information and intuit that our rhythmic pattern must be changed for the greater good. You will know if the feeling is generally coming from your higher self, if you feel absolutely no regret, if the new thing or relationship did not work out, and you would not even think of returning to the old thing or relationship. It is so easy to get excited over something new that makes us feel good that we may abandon our destiny in exchange for temporary rush and regret it later. The same is true when we lose our rhythm because we feel it will be too difficult to continue due to either stagnation or sudden obstacles to progress. This is not the time to quit without first examining how you will feel about yourself if you throw in the towel and abandon your vision. To succeed, it is imperative to precisely identify your objectives and how far you're willing to go to make it happen. That's the easy part. The more challenging part is identifying what you will rely on to maintain your rhythm no matter what as you pursue your goal. There may be many interruptions, both good and bad, on your journey, so make sure that whatever you choose as your main source of assistance in maintaining focus on the bottom line fits the following criteria. It's always available, always accessible, cannot be lost or damaged by any means, encourages faith or constant centering on remembering your purpose. When you get the rhythm card in a reading, you should consider the following. Are you full of enthusiasm to begin something new but have not considered the hard work required to do it well? Is the sudden feeling of ecstasy or hopelessness going to last long enough to really justify the decision to change the rhythm of your life? Are you spiritually fortified to face any challenges that may appear? Are you overly relying on artificial or external means to maintain your rhythm? Are you continuing to dance even though the beat of your life is becoming monotonous? And in what ways may you be seeking to control the natural rhythm of your life at this point? So for some of us, this is really like a call to institute a sense of a rhythm in your life so that when things are off, on a spiritual note, you will be able to kind of like figure out what is off in your life, but really just focusing on maintaining a natural balance and a natural rhythm and the patterns and cycles in the way that you do things, which also includes, like in the beginning, the card is talking about death, resurrection, so basically learning from our lessons, from things that have happened in the past and moving forward, because even though we have a natural rhythm, there will be things that happen along the way that kind of inject itself into the rhythm of our lives. And so how far off of our natural rhythm will we go when these things happen is really based and rooted in how strong our rhythm is and how we have set up like instituted a sense of like the way that we operate and the way that we navigate and the way that we do certain things will be kind of thrown off course or off center when something happens or comes up to kind of like affect the natural rhythm of our life. So it's really about structure. It's really about setting up your own sense of discipline when it comes to the way that you operate in your life so that you can kind of deal with the ebbs and flows that come along. And the projection card that came out for you guys is the Justice card. And the projection card is the rationalizations or justification that is preventing you from seeing the core issue. The uncomfortable masks of excuses that are placed on the truth that, if not removed and worked out, will eventually cause internal suffering and possibly external hardships. And this actually, if I'm not mistaken, came out with the Pisces reading. I remember it now because of the symbol of Mott that is represented on this card. The tagline for this card, the Justice card, is "The court is in the heart." The Kemetans placed a scarab over the heart of the deceased to symbolize resurrection after the judgment of the soul. Mott was the ancient Kemetan goddess of truth, balance, morality, divine justice, and cosmic order. And that is what's being represented here. With Mott, it is said that after a person passes away, they go through a period of judgment where their heart is weighed against a feather on the scale, right? And so if your heart is lighter than a feather or as light as a feather, then you're able to pass through. And if not, then you have some work that you have to do, some karmic restitution, so to speak, that you have to pay before you can transcend and kind of like resurrect again. So everyone has at one time or another felt betrayed by circumstances. When we are disillusioned or disappointed, we often complain that life is not fair and retreat into a self-pitying state. It rarely occurs to us that the circumstances and or conditions we attract are in direct alignment with a thought process that preceded and facilitated the manifestation of events. We never doubt or question the necessity for the existence of natural laws for all things to remain in order. Yet somehow we forget that we, as the microcosm, are also subject to universal regulations for the exact same purpose. As a result, we miss opportunities for growth by blaming other people, fate, bad luck, a lost charm, anything but taking the time to examine how we may have lost our balance. So when you get the Justice reading card in a reading, it may be a warning to avoid perpetuating yourself as a victim to yourself or to others. Seek not pity or revenge at this time, but instead analyze how your choices and decisions contributed to the outcome of the situation. If you go deep enough, you will recall all the ignored hunches, reservations, or red flags, and they were all there. You just did not see them or did not acknowledge them, or you still pressed forward because it was something that you really, really wanted. And so as a result, that disturbed the natural rhythm and pattern of your life. And so I feel like you're not really realizing kind of like that space or that moment in time where you kind of like manifested the situation into existence is kind of what's disrupting your balance. So if you're able to see that clearly and to learn from those mistakes or understanding how your intuition works, that you can actively pay attention to the hunches or the intuitive nudges that you get regarding particular situations that can have an effect on the overall course or rhythm of your life. And so the next set of cards is what's considered the cool action card, right? The action cards are separated into two sections, one blue and the other red. And the blue card, which are these two cards, Optimism and Detachment, relate to the suggested internal state that you might be going through that's actually fought in relationship to the your actual position right now. The red state relates to the suggested external response, and then these cards, the blue cards, are what should be the internal response. The thought process behind that is that our thoughts precedes our actions, and therefore are casual agents that affect everything that happens. So as you think, that's kind of like how you do, right? Optimism here is the flag bearer that rides ahead of an army of victorious thoughts. The flowering garden of cypress ferns and orange trees represents optimism, abundance, and bliss. When you see this card, you should believe that things will work out for the best and go forward with no doubt to the contrary. This is essential at this time. And the second card that came out is Detachment. And the tagline for this card is when loss is an investment in peace, defeat is illusionary. The key symbol in this card are the flowers. So the broken rose symbolizes dispassionate thinking, detaching the head from the heart. The figure that is represented in this card is Hecate. Hecate was the goddess of the wilderness, magic, and witches. She was associated with isolation and the underworld. And the meaning for this card is to stop obsessing and completely let go of any emotional attachments related to the matter in question. So you're being asked to detach, and you're also asked to focus on the positive aspects and moving forward with the positivity. And the action card that came out is Gradual Progress. The tagline for this card is even a slow cart on the road eventually gets to town. The key symbol in this card is the larynx, which is the voice box. It's kind of like your throat, your chakra, throat chakra. And that represents unseen processes. The beginning of everything we see, starting with words. First, an internal conversation took place, then the external manifestation of that thought process followed. Though we don't realize it, speech is probably the most complex of human actions. We must use the air that's expelled from the lungs by pressure exerted from the ribs, diaphragm, and abdomen. Then that air has to move up through the windpipe to the larynx, where the vocal cords vibrate to produce the voice. The throat, mouth, and nose then modify the sound, while the lips, teeth, tongue, and palates work together to produce words. Saying good morning seemed like it just happened naturally, but it was actually a gradual, unseen process. We speak the world into existence. And what is represented here is an association with Abiona, who was the Roman goddess of outward journeys and first steps. The meaning for this card is to take things one step at a time, and you'll surely get there. Speed would exchange lasting value and peace for temporary gratification and suffering. So we want to be mindful about not speaking negativity into our lives and proceeding with optimism, but also to practice actively letting go of things in the past that we have done or that have been done to us as a way to kind of free ourselves from the negativity and also any like karmic repercussions from us acting badly or just releasing other people from their karmic actions from acting negatively towards us. But really it is kind of like an admonition to really focus on the way that we speak, the things that we speak into existence, but also to become a power and authority over our own life. Because at the end of the day, we only have to answer for the things that we do in this life to others and really to ourselves. So this is about stepping out of being a victim and stepping into being kind of like the master of your own fate. And releasing yourself from the burden of past mistakes and past situations that have happened to you, and kind of stepping into the master role of your own life. So that ends the reading for this month for Scorpios. These cards can be a little bit difficult, but the whole purpose of them is to receive the information, kind of reflect on it, and see how it is kind of manifesting in your own life, and to realize what that looks like in your life, to accept it, and to put the actions into place that will help you live your greatest and best life. Thank you for listening. Please like the video and leave a comment below. Let me know how this is working out in your life currently. Please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for post notifications. Thank you for being here, and I will see you soon.